Welcome to State of Ed, a podcast about education inside the classroom and out. My name is Mark Isix.
And I'm Nick Simone.
How are you today, Nick?
Obviously very well. We have a special day ahead of us. How are you doing?
Incredibly well. There are two incredible people that we need to introduce here. First and foremost is it a co-host if there are three? Is it a tri-host? I'd have to Google this and find out. But Kate Crimmins, our esteemed chairperson of the English department, is here with us. And so happy to have Kate with us on State of Ed for the first time. Hey, Kate, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much. Such a fun moment for me. So thank you.
Well, we owe it all to you because you were the one who first discovered our incredible guest, Kristina Smekens, who is one of the most in-demand literacy consultants in the country. She currently serves as president and lead consultant at Smekens Education, which she founded back in 2005. Her team has spent the better part of the past 2 decades helping K-12 teachers master the art and science of reading and writing instruction. She is a certified sixth trades trainer, the author of more than 70 literacy resources, including the Comprehension Playbook and Launching the Writer's Workshop, and the creator of Ignite to Write Conference, which draws educators from across the country each year. She was also honored with the Excellence in Reading Award by the Indiana State Reading Association. So much wisdom, so much practical knowledge to unpack. Kristina, welcome to State of Ed.
Well, I'm super excited to be here. This is awesome.
So, Kate, let's start with you because you discovered this amazing video that led us all the way to Kristina and her fantastic work. So can you just share a little bit about that video, which we all, Nick, I think you would agree, we fell in love with the instant that we saw.
Yes. So I was given a wonderful opportunity as a new chairperson to run a new teacher. What do we call it? New teacher orientation, new teacher
Workshop?
The new teacher workshop. And they said to me, you're in charge of literacy. You have 1 hour, you have literacy, and you're teaching all the new teachers from all the subjects about literacy. So I put together about 236 slides for 1 hour. And, as I was, looking through what I wanted to really focus on, I came across the Think Aloud video. And I was like, no matter what I get through, I'm getting to this slide, and I'm going to talk to the new teachers about this because I think so often, it just so simply explains what we need to be doing in front of the classroom. And I think sometimes we assume that we're either doing that or we assume our teachers know how to do that. But just to look at the model versus the Think Aloud. And then also you're amazing bringing the basketball into it as well, and the foul shot. It was just perfect. So it was one of those moments where I showed it and all the teachers were just like, it clicks for them, so simply. So and then Nick, you saw it?
Yeah, so she shared it with me and I said, well, number one, Kate's brilliant for finding this. And then it's number two, we have to meet this Kristina Smekens because as a former basketball coach myself, and we are not going to spend time talking about UConn Duke today. This is
I know.
Purely educational. But can you really talk the audience through? No, because it really is, it can be used in so many settings. So can you talk the audience through how you use the foul shot to distinguish between somebody who's modeling and somebody who's doing a Think Aloud?
Absolutely. And I think the point you just made about, oh my goodness, this is relevant to not only inside the classroom and academics, but real world. And so that's the reason that I did it with a free throw and the idea of let's get out of the classroom for a minute. And let's just talk about this in a more universal setting. So whenever we attempt to teach students how to do something. So I think that's the first thing, is that you aren't going to use a Think Aloud and modeling for everything. I mean, there are times we just need to provide direct sit and get lecture style things. There are times we do inquiry-based learning or project-based learning. Okay, but when you want to teach students of any level, any skill, how to do it, then it needs to come via two avenues to them. And every teacher knows gradual release, I do, we do, you do. So we're talking about the I do. That's what we're talking about. Within the I do, the term itself is action-based. I do, I model, I show one. Okay, this is how you isolate X and solve this in math. This is how you write a topic sentence. This is how you get the ball over the pickleball net. Whatever. And so doing the action, modeling, teachers do that all the time. And I think we have a false sense of, I've shown them one, and even if we do another one together, I've shown them two. Okay, now do it. And this is that disconnect that I have come to realize kids know what the teacher wants. I know what you want me to do. Write a topic sentence, a thesis statement, get the ball over the net, solve this problem. I know what you want me to do. The problem is I don't know how to do it. And I don't mean in steps. Well, you isolate X and you do this and then you solve. A lot of kids can tell me that. But what they can't tell me is, why are you doing what you're doing? So they can't explain it in math. Or they could write a topic sentence as long as it's only about this topic. Don't change the topic on me because I only know how to do it this way, right? They're so good. In general, kids want to do it. They want to perform it, execute it, whatever. But they're like, yeah, but if it doesn't fit this exact topic or this formula, this pattern, this approach, then I don't know how to do it. And that's the think aloud. So if we think of modeling as the physical demonstration, whether the teacher's at the whiteboard writing or the teacher is at the net doing the form or the math teacher is standing in front of the problem, doing it is important. But that is for a very specific isolated example. If we teach how to do that, then this is a forevermore skill. And the how isn't visible. The how is invisible. It's the mathematician's thinking process, the writer's thinking process, the basketball player's thinking process. And so much of that thinking is, okay, first I'm supposed to do this. It is the steps or whatever the teacher told me to do. It is remembering those steps and doing them. But it's then talking yourself through the decision making of those steps. Okay, so I'm supposed to isolate X. How do I isolate X again? Okay, I'm supposed to get the ball of the net. I'm supposed to have the ball in my hand and I'm supposed to, and so this idea of reminding yourself, I'm supposed to do this, and then, wait a minute, how do I do, wait, that didn't work. Decide, it's fragmented thinking. It's narrating your thinking while demonstrating. And it's that piece that I think most teachers don't realize is so vital to what I say, call teaching yourself out of a job. They don't need you anymore. You have taught them how to do this. And so they can do the first 10 math problems, but as soon as you go double digit on them, that breaks the pattern. It doesn't work exactly how the model did. So what is half of it? But then it's the how do I do this? And it's that decision making and talking through it while you do it. That's what a think aloud is. And I think every teacher with good intentions, I model, I do. I know I'm supposed to, but there are nuances to it that either make it, nope, you're no longer modeling with a think aloud, or this would have been better had you only, it's the nuances that I think are that kind of, there it is. That's what they needed.
Oh, we're all going to want to jump in after that.
I'll just throw in before Kate and Nick do their thing. I just want to let you know, Kristina, that I have one of the pleasures of my job is that I get to observe teachers and chair people. And Kate was someone that I did observe not too long ago. And Kate's spectacular. I know you don't know her that well, but trust me that she is. And she was using the think aloud versus the modeling as she was teaching her students, going through an annotation exercise. And she
Yeah.
just sat there and not only worked through the annotation, but she took them through all of her thought process while she
Yes.
was doing it. And then only because Kate's this good, in the moment, she kind of looks over to me and kind of gives me like this knowing look, because we had already had this podcast, scheduled. And this is Kate, just she's so good that she could just kind of gloat and show off while she's in the moment in her classroom, but in the most imperceptible ways to the students. But
Uh-huh.
I'm on that wavelength with her. But anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there, because not only does everything that you're saying make sense, but I just want to let you know that like people who have had tremendous amount of experience like Kate are still discovering new ways to tackle the challenge of teaching and having their kids learn. So I just want you to know that for all the work that you're doing, that it's absolutely paying off. So thank you.
Well, you're welcome. And I love hearing that. I love hearing that about Kate.
Well, I think that, a really important part of it is letting them hear where I start to kind of question myself, where I say, we're reading a complex text and I say, oh, what is the antecedent for this pronoun? And I walk them through, how do I connect it back to, and that's like a big piece of reading comprehension is the antecedent. And so to be able to say, I got to stop here. Or we were reading a piece about a baseball ballpark, and I don't know a lot of the context of that. So I was kind of expressing to them, what do these words mean? What do these terms mean? So they were able to see kind of my frustration with the text and how I kind of overcame that. So that's I think a really powerful part of the Think Aloud as well.
Yes. Well, and I think, some of the most basic comments from kids or like, really? That's what you got out of that amazing Think Aloud I just did? Some of those are things like this. You had that many thoughts? Yeah. I think this is how we teach today's students the perseverance and grit. I think, so many, they're apathetic. They don't want to work that hard. No, I think they are willing to. They don't know how. And so they've got to see us, just as you did, Kate, say, okay, I see this. I'm supposed to do this. Wait a minute. I don't know what that is. I don't have any knowledge on that. Okay, so let me back up. Well, what do I know? And then you talk yourself through, and it's your problem solving and all that. I think we teach perseverance and grit through the Think Aloud. I think it's when we only model and we're like, okay, so you're going to do this, and you tell steps. You just, okay, and then I'm going to, that we make it look easy. And they feel like, I'm dumb, I can't do this, I don't get it, that kind of a thing. I think this is the secret to teaching perseverance and grit at this point.
I totally agree. And as I was listening to you earlier, what you're basically saying is that teachers have to make kids think in class. So I'm going to ask you, do you think, what I've noticed recently is teachers are so concerned about the rubric. So what I mean by that is whenever there's an assessment that is awarding points for certain steps, like you talk about, teachers are just going over how you can get the point, but they're not really teaching them how to think to get the point. So like, I'm going to go on a limb here with 2 English teachers, but when a kid will say to me, do we have to write a 4-paragraph essay? I'll say, no, how about you write an essay that happens to have 4 paragraphs? Why does it have to be the 4-paragraph essay as if it's some formula that they all have to follow through?
Right.
Yeah, so that's like, and again, it resonated with me so much because the foul shot is just a perfect example. I can sit here, shoot a perfect foul shot and say, hey, do it like that.
Yep.
Or I can go through the thought process of how I'm doing every single step. And when they see that and realize that you're not just doing a step by step, but you're thinking through it, now you have to do that in all different contexts. So I guess my question though is, do you think that teachers are getting too caught up with trying to just earn points for kids when you speak to them on the road?
Yeah, I don't not think that's the case, but it might not be coming from a place of grades and scoring and points and that. I think it comes from teachers don't know how. They know how to do certain things. Every second grade teacher I know knows how to make a prediction. Well, I'm teaching prediction. I know how to make a prediction. I know you know how, but you're not teaching, you're teaching how to make a prediction. So you can't just wing it. You can't because you're having thoughts you're not voicing. You don't realize all the thoughts you're having. And there are things in your model that aren't observable. And that's the invisible we got to mention. Like, I looked here, like just that. I looked here, not even what you thought. Just, how'd you know to look there? How did you know to look there? Well, and I'm looking for it. Well, how'd you know that? Well, I'm looking for this, and I looked here, and I saw, and it made me think maybe it could, and all of that. And I haven't even gotten to the prediction yet. So all of it. So I think teachers, I wrote it down. You said, are we teaching them how to, or you said, making them think. I think the resources we have or whatever we're using to ask questions about literature or content or whatever, I think the questions are rigorous. In general, I think they're rigorous. But there is no point asking any of those questions if we haven't taught them how to answer that type of question, how to think. What is the main idea? Why are we asking that question? Every kid in this room knows main idea is what it's mostly about. But almost every sixth grader in this room has no idea how to figure out the main idea. And there is a figuring out thinking process. But I don't know if the language arts teacher knows what it is because no one taught him or her. And so we're trying to teach thinking so that we can then ask those questions as, we'll call it practice, right? We'll just to use it, to do it. But asking questions when we haven't taught them how to think like that gets you the same result every time. The same three kids answering the questions and everybody else thankful they're not absent today. So they can answer, right? I mean, it's like, okay, somebody else, kind of a thing. And so when an elementary teacher has a reading text or a lit anthology at the secondary, and it comes with suggested close reading questions and all of that, the very first thing I would do as a teacher is read through those questions and highlight or mark somehow, I have taught them how to think like that. In another text with another, no, then don't ask that question. It's a total waste of time. They're guessing and it's giving you a false sense of readiness. They're not ready. They don't know this. I didn't teach it. It comes with 24 close reading questions. I can ask 3. That doesn't mean I'm not going to stop every half a page or a handful of paragraphs, pause and say, okay, what are we realizing? Just basic recall, paraphrase. What did we learn from this part? But I definitely can't ask, well, why would the author have used that paradox? What was he thinking? They don't even know what the author said, let alone why he said it that way. So to me, it's teaching how to think. That's what we need. When we talk about writing skills and science or technical standards, say teaching them how to draw a conclusion, whether that's a hypothesis, whether that's the significance of something, the relevance of something. Okay. Every science teacher can say, and I want you to end your lab report with how to draw a conclusion has X number of sentences. You can tell me that, but if you don't teach me how to draw a conclusion, I'm going to continue to guess or to AI it because it's just easier. I don't know how. Then the small tweak is what I model and think aloud about. Science teacher, model how to draw and think aloud about how to draw a conclusion cannot be on the lab they're going to write about because they're going to copy it. It has to be on a different novel, different math route, a different experience. I mean, it's like, okay, let's be smarter than the children here, right? I mean, that's what it comes down to. But it's the how, and teachers know how to do things. What I'm realizing is they don't know how. They know how to do it. That's what we're teaching.
Wow.
As you're saying that, I'm thinking about this connecting it to this piece of research called Even Einstein Struggled. I don't know if you're familiar with this. And
No.
it's all about struggle stories and how it actually increases student engagement because students feel more connected with what they're learning and when they learn about the struggle behind the story, as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to the way Einstein, for example, is traditionally taught. Einstein's a genius. Just accept the fact that he's a genius. So then in a student's mind, you're either, I guess, born a genius or you're not born a genius, and there's nothing that you can do about it. It's either
Exactly.
it's in you or it's not. What you're describing is learning through struggle and learning through thinking and stumbling and coming up against obstacles, figuring out how to overcome, but working students through the process of overcoming the obstacle. And that
Right.
actually relates much better to students because they all can connect to the experience of being frustrated, hitting a wall, having failure, so on and so forth. But if we just present things as, but here are the steps, I don't know why you can't do it,
Right.
means that there's like that missing component, which is exactly where you're living right now with this idea of the model versus the think aloud.
Yes. I think that idea of it's not all inspiration, you can do this, emotional, although that's a factor. But they also then need practical, literal, concrete, broken down. Think like this, look here, here are your two choices. What's the text structure? You only got 6 choices. Why don't we just tell the kids that first? There are 6 kinds of text structure. All right. So these are your choices, and because otherwise, it's like, is it this? No, that's not even what. Just tell the children, just tell them this is what it is. Okay, now I've told you your choices or told you the steps. Now I'm going to apply those steps, but I'm not going to literally only just do that. I'm going to have thoughts in between each of those along the way. Let's, you guys have mentioned the free throw. So let's, and I think Nick, you were the one at the beginning said, this is so applicable to so many other things. Okay, so let's just talk to our educators about your own children at home, whether they're 5 or 15 or, 35. The idea that when you taught that child a chore at home, I mean, we all did it. We all said, okay, I want you to vacuum out the car after our vacation. Because we went to the beach, there's sand, or I want you to empty the dishwasher, and they're done in 0.7 seconds, and it's nothing close to what we expect. We might have even said, I want you to vacuum the floor, I want you to vacuum the seats, I want you to, da-da-da-da-da, and they're like, okay, and they do it, okay, but then you come back and you're like, how can you possibly be done? Mom, I did all the seats. I did and it's like, okay, so what did I have to do? I had to take hold of the vacuum and they stood right there. I'm going to do it and you're going to watch me do it. And so I start to vacuum. I get to the mat and I start to peel back the mat. And they're like, you have to remove the floor mats? Yes. We didn't say that. It's amazing to me when I stop and plan a lesson and I realize, oh my goodness, I just naturally do these things. I didn't even know I did that. But if I would tell them I did that, then they're like, well, there's the secret sauce. I didn't know that. So many times after a mini lesson model that our team does, we're walking out and the kids are like, thank you for teaching me that. It's not that they hadn't heard it, known it was expected. I didn't tell them anything about it that was new. But by doing it and talking through, now I'm going back and forth. But do you see how the sand is like, okay, well, there's clearly more sand in that spot. So it's not just touch every spot. It's go over until nothing is still flicking up in the air. And then I put the mat over here, but I'm not going to do the mat right now. I'll do that later. I'm going to finish this part and blah, blah, blah. And I go back. Oh, and I can't get that part. What if I had another tool? Blah, blah, blah. And all of these things. And that's it. Or emptying the dishwasher. Goodness. I mean, my kids are in their mid-20s. But when they were first learning this, the very first time we did empty the dishwasher. I'm running to the store. I'll be back. I came back and the whole top shelf is still full. And they're like, there's 2 shelves? Yes. You know, they had no idea. The second time, both shelves were emptied, but everything was in the cupboards. Wet. Nothing's dry. It's all wet. And you guys, if it's wet, if there's a pool on the cup, on the butt, you got to dump it, dry it off before you put it. You didn't say that. Oh, okay. And the silverware into the drawer. People, there's little notches. Line up the shapes. And if it's wet, dry. And so it's the littlest thoughts. That's the how process that I think we take for granted. I think we assume kids get it. And there are so many of those in between every step of whatever the skill is that we have to voice and walk through.
My conclusion in hearing that, Kristina, is that somehow, and I'm not sure exactly how, but my children have been living in your house this whole time.
Everybody's kids do that. Exactly.
I was thinking I need to hear the think aloud about the dishwasher.
Yeah. I actually have the vacuuming of the car think aloud totally recorded and planned. And people are like, oh my goodness, you're right. I mean, I even set out the vacuum, the Windex, the paper towel, and blah, 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 and they still didn't even come close to it. And I'm like, telling isn't teaching. You have to, and we've heard that. We know that. But it's when my team and I model a lesson with the kids from that school, with whatever technology we have at that school, and the classroom teacher or teachers are observing their kids in their room with their content and technology. And I'll teach a skill that we've predetermined, and they're like, you made it seem so simple. That is the definition of explicit direct instruction. We're not being explicit and specific if we don't simplify. I'm not saying it's easy. It's complex. It has many steps to it and thoughts, and flowchart can go many different ways here, but making it so simple that they can replicate it, that's the goal. But I don't know if teachers know how. They know how to do some of these things. And that's the rubber meets the road problem. That's it right there.
What type of reaction do you get from teachers after you present? I'm curious.
Okay, so typically when we, in this case, actually deliver a lesson, it's usually in the area of reading comprehension or a writing skill. And, this could be 5-year-olds, kindergarten sitting on the carpet. This could be AP seniors at a high school. We've pre-planned, okay, what skill do you say they're struggling with? And you want me, okay, and what's our text? So we kind of planned all that out. So then I go in this 10, 15-minute lesson, and when it's done, then we typically will step out into the hall, myself and any of the teachers, admin, whomever was observing. And so their responses are things like, you made it seem so simple. And it's, okay, that's the goal, okay? But I didn't wing it. See, it looked like in my think aloud, like I was like, what? Okay, how can I do this? I'm acting. I totally scripted this out. I don't know how I know either if I don't ahead. That's the hardest part for me. The longest part of the planning process is not what I'm going to tell the kids about the skill or the steps. What example? Right. No, it's what am I going to say? And it's not making it up. It's like, well, let me do it. And so it's that metacognition. How do I do it? Being able to think like that. So I show them every time we're done with I never do a mini lesson without a plan. It's total gibberish and it only makes sense to me. But I know exactly what I'm saying and doing. And there are times that I'm like, and so I look at that and I think, maybe, and all of a sudden, right, I forgot. I don't know. Maybe memorizing this stuff, but I need it there because if you only go with what you think of on the wing it, it's way too surface. It's not enough of the process how. So when you do, and it also then just makes the whole thing more engaging because it's got some speed to it, some pacing to it. And you're click, 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 click. So that idea, you made it look so simple, but I planned it. What are we planning in our lessons? And they're like, well, I'm going to do page 53. Okay, well,
Right.
that's one of it. You got to plan the think aloud. The other thing that they'll often say is, I can't believe how much you taught, told, showed, modeled about this skill in only 15 minutes. I can't believe how much you got across to them in only 15 minutes. And again, I go back, that's because it's planned. Because one of the biggest misconceptions about direct, explicit instruction, which is not used for everything, but when you want to teach a how-to skill, this is how you do it, is teachers want to turn it into a conversation. No. This is I do, and we talk about these in general. I do, we do, you do. We got to stop saying that because it's to check the box. I did one, we did one, done. No, it's each one of those needs to have I do everything. You watch and listen, say nothing. But then it's I do, like the first we do for me is I do another one. Totally planned it. I got totally planned. You help orally. Nobody's coming to the board. No one's writing anything. They're not taking notes. And then it's, I do another one. You help, blah, blah, blah. And then eventually it's you do. We flip it. Now it's you do. So if we got rid of the we, everything's an you. I'm doing it. You're watching. I'm doing it. Eventually it's you're doing it. I'm helping a lot. You're doing it. I'm helping very often. I'm helping as needed. You're doing it. I'm helping occasionally. You're doing it. I'm watching. You're doing it on a test. And I'm watching from my desk. That's the gradual. In gradual release, we see 3 boxes. I did one, I did another one. Now it's your turn. What is the problem? Well, you never actually taught me how. And then you just threw me in the deep end. I don't know how to do it. So I think there are so many facets. So when teachers are like, you plan it? Yeah, I plan it. So they point that out. They also, because of the plan, Nick, another common teacher response out in the hallway when we're debriefing is, you even had Jeremy. You even had that kid. He was not, and that's, again, partly because it's all planned, is my pacing. It's not, so what do I do? And I'm winging it. And I'm like, what do I do? I don't know. And then you're like, no, and now there's downtime. And I really am panicking. I really don't know what I would do. And here comes a couple kids who always, and you just left I do. You just left it. Now you're going to let that kid give you and we're going to make it about the answer. We're going to make it about the product. We're going to make about getting it done. And we are not teaching how to do the skill forevermore. So it's those little things. You even had that kid. Yeah, because my pacing kept going. I can be fun and funny. I move when I'm doing it. And some of that's personality. Some teachers will be like, Kristina, I'm just not you. And I'm like, neither am I all the time. Who would want to be friends with that person? That's over the top. But in direct instruction, which is mini, thus the term mini lesson, this direct instruction, this is edutaining. Educate, teach them how, but you have our battle is keeping their attention and entertaining them. And so moving around, having physical triggers or analogies, think of changing my voices. How do I do the acting, the thespian, all of that, it all goes into it. And so that's part of it. How did you say all of that? I can't believe how much you communicated to them in that 15 minutes. So those are some of the common results or comments.
Did you copyright the edutaining? I love that.
No, I've actually heard that years ago. I wish I knew who I heard it from. It's since become something I use all the time, but I can't claim being the first one. And I would love to know who came up with that. But no, I do say it. And so we do edutain, and we're like, educate, there's your lesson, entertainment, right? And so, yeah.
Hey,
No.
we're using that, right?
That's
Yeah.
going in our new teacher workshop.
There
You
we
know that.
go. There we go. But then as soon as the direct instruction is over, and now it's, okay, I want you to try with a lot of my help in class, whatever it is, then, okay, I'm coming off the, crazy and going to be normal and move around the room. I'm not going to continue to be that way. But that's even if they're like, you're so over the top, they can't help but learn. They can't help but they don't look away.
Is that when you say you do with a lot of my help, is that what what does that look like in the classroom? Is that you just walking around?
Yeah. Okay. So the think aloud and the model, all of that is in the direct instruction, in the lesson, mini lesson, whatever you want to call it. But whether you're the PE teacher who modeled and thought aloud about how to get the pickleball over the net on a serve, or it's the writing skill, or it's some close reading skill, then the lesson is over. Because the hard part when I say, these kids aren't talking, these kids aren't helping you. No, they don't help you. Well, how do you know if they're getting it? You don't in the lesson. You know after the lesson when they try it. And so this idea of, don't ask them questions. It's not a discussion. That's not the point of direct instruction. So now we're going to go into you do. All right. So one of my first big things is this you do must be in class. So many teachers are like, I told them, I showed them, and the bell's ringing. All right. So you're going to do numbers 1 through 15 for homework.
I may have done that a couple of times. I'm not going to lie.
This is the first time we're doing it? What? Every kid bobbleheads during a mini lesson with direct instruction. It all looks easy and good when you do it, but then they go to do it and they're like, what? They need you. So it's got to be in class. Whatever this skill is, they've got to do it right then in class. So it's you do, meaning you now have the text. It was I do and I projected the text. It was I do and I had the marker and I was writing on the whiteboard or typing on my device. It was I do, I had the pickleball paddle and I was, okay, you do. The first thing that happens is they have the text, they have the device, they have the marker, they have the paddle, whatever it is. It's you do. You're now holding the ball. This is the release. Release implies you had it at some point and did the work. So now the lesson's over and we release. And this is where I think we don't remind teachers, you know best. This class sitting in front of you, you know, could they attempt this in class right now alone? Really? With, 80% being able to actually do it, or 80% going to be in a line at your desk? Would we do it? Huh? So you do means they're doing the work, holding, trying, but I'm right there. So it's in class. But one of the first things I would do is their first attempt at this skill should be in class with peers, small groups. I'm thinking college. In college, we had study groups. We all went to the 500-person lecture hall, and then we got in the dorm study hall, and we're like, dude, what'd you get from that? What'd you get? Let's just pool our limited understanding and try to figure this out. And that's what I would do. And if you're like, I don't even know if putting them in groups, then the first you do is whole class. And we share the marker. Or what do we do now, you guys? Come on, talk it out. Talk it out. A whole class, let's talk it out. What do we do? Instead of me doing it and reminding, what do you remember? I'm over at the anchor chart. Remember the step, and that kind of thing. Now, what do you do? Why are you doing that? Let's hear it. Why are we? So it's super whole class working together on one conclusion of a lab report or whatever it is. Talk through it. No, I think I could put them in groups. And so, okay, put them in groups. So now my 25-person class, I've got 6 groups. So I'm walking around and I may be facilitating and, all right, we're all doing this next step. Talk as a group. What are you doing? Where are you? Don't just do it to be done. What are you doing? Where? Talk it through. And so I'm helping, I'm reminding, blah, blah, blah. And it's so not about getting this math answer. It is so not about writing this paragraph to be done. It's why, how, when, where, all of that. And I would then do another one. If I was the science teacher, I taught how to do a conclusion of a lab report. Okay? I'm not saying that's the only lesson I'm going to do on that, but I taught it. Now we're going to do a you-do on a different lab that they have experience with, and I'm going to talk them through the process of drawing a conclusion to then write the conclusion. Okay, let's do another one. Partner up. Break up your groups. Let's pair up. Why? Because that was pretty successful. Like, the groups were able to do it. Now I need to figure out who's getting, who's not getting. If that was a holy hot mess, let's do another one whole class. You go backwards and you,
Right.
okay. So you read the room, right? Formative assessment, read the room. And so then I might do a third one, depending on how long all this is. Okay, let's do it in pairs or triads or whatever. What I'm not doing is this is homework. No, this is not homework. That's not gradual release. That is super fast, supersonic release. And that's the problem. We think of it often as checkbox. I did one, I did another one with you. Now you should be good. My children didn't learn. They still haven't learned how to empty the dishwasher the way I want it done. And how many lessons and together and practices have they had with this? And it's still not quite right. So that idea of, now you do it for a grade. Wow, that's too fast. Too fast. So the think aloud is the kickoff to gradual release independence. But without the think aloud in the model, if we just tell, then, and this is what I hear a lot, they can never do anything at home. We have to do everything in class together. We have to read in class. We have to do this in class. You never taught them how to do it, though, alone. And then you didn't guide them and release them from peer support. You just told them, go do it. Well, they can't. We have to do it in class. Okay. We're missing a whole lot of nuances here. And that's the piece that I think teachers are like, okay. But then it comes to time. When am I supposed to do all this? When am I supposed, I'm the first one to say, I will guarantee you that what you were doing in October of last year, you will not be there in October of this year. You will be behind. But I can also bet money that by second semester, assuming it's a year-long class, by second semester, you are assigning things that you always assigned in March, but they're able to do it a whole lot more independently than they've ever done before. And isn't that the goal? So it's the slow down to speed up.
Oh,
Love that.
love every bit of it.
I can't. I mean, I could talk to you forever, Kristina. Where can people in our audience find you if they want to learn more about you and the work that you do and how to bring you to their school or school district?
Awesome. Well, so we have a website, SmekensEducation.com.
We'll absolutely put it on the show notes. Kristina, thank you so much for all of your time. Your energy is incredible. And your ideas are fantastic. Kate, thank you for discovering for us someone who's been doing great work for such a long time, but we just haven't had the pleasure of receiving all the bounty of the greatness that she's putting into the world. So, but we are now, and that's changed. And thank you, Kate, for being the conduit there.
Yes.
So thank you, everybody.
Yeah,
what a great conversation.
This was such a
you.
pleasure. You're a remarkable force in education. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I just share information, but I do love it. I do love what I do. So thank you for having me.
We will be sharing everything. And we'll be talking about this all day tomorrow.
Thank you so much, Kristina.
Thank you. Take care.
Welcome.
Take care.